Delighted to say we are joined by Mike Kemp, aka Cousin Stan. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. I'm fine.
So Cousin Stan was an important character, really. Without him, the Trotters wouldn't have taken in Uncle Albert. What are your memories of being involved in Fools and Horses?
Well, it was all a bit surreal, really, because it practically happened overnight. I think my agent phoned me on the Thursday. I got the script on the Friday, and we were shooting it on the Monday. I didn't do an audition. It came by virtue of the fact that John Sullivan was a scene shifter on A Dixon of Dock Green, which I did many years before, but he remembered me as this bumbly. Now you've got me. Yes, now you've got me on video, and I can see myself. And John Sullivan remembered me as this funny, slightly bumbly character with a heart of stone, as the black sheep of this family. And he remembered me and asked, and so he didn't even ask me if I wanted to do it, just to phone my agent and said, Mike's doing it. So it was all a bit of a surprise, and it was all over before I realised what was going on, if you see what I mean.
Great. So, Chris, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, did you audition, Mike, with Buster Merrifield and your wife at the time, Jean? Did you have to audition and things together? Not audition, but you had to run through a few times, did you, before you did it, obviously?
No.
No
audition process. It was just purely out of what Joe Waters and John Sullivan remembered of me. And apparently they had Maureen Sweeney in mind anyway. We seemed to make a perfect couple.
Now, Maureen Sweeney, am I right in saying, who was Jean, wasn't she, your wife in the story? She was in Holiday on the Buses, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, and I was thinking, actually, weirdly, obviously your character name was Stan, and she was Stan Butler's girlfriend in Holiday on the Buses as well, wasn't she? Which is quite strange. So two Stans.
I don't remember the film itself, but I'm sure you're right.
Did you watch Only Fools and Horses before you starred in it, Mike? Or
of course.
Yeah, you're a fan, were you?
Absolutely. But when it first came on, I watched about 2 episodes, and my stepfather, Sid, God rest his soul, was from High Wycombe, and he had this lovely rolling birch, bucks, oxen accent. And I said to him one day, we were sitting, we had watched it, and I said, "Do you get this?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it's very funny, Michael, very funny." And even though, I'm sure he didn't get a lot of the references, he, when something's funny and when it isn't, and it seems to be perennial. My grandchildren are laughing at it now.
So when you read the script, did you sort of laugh as well? You thought, "Oh wow, this is going to be a good scene" at the time. Do you realise how big it was at the time? Did you think people will remember me for this in 30, 40 years, or did you not think much of it at the time? Did you just think it's another job? And
well, as I said, it was all pretty surreal, and it all happened, and we'd done it before I realised what I was involved in.
Because that episode, I'm right in saying, was written after, wasn't it? Because the Hole in One was supposed to be the first episode when it's Albert falls through the bar, doesn't he? That Leonard Pearce actually filmed that episode, I think, didn't he? And that was supposed to be the first episode of the series 4, I think.
Yeah. And
the episode you appeared in obviously was written later because unfortunately Leonard sadly passed away.
Well, the unfortunate demise of Leonard Pearce, God rest his soul. it wasn't expected. He died very suddenly, and now they're left with this dilemma. What do we do? Do we put what we've got together and let the two boys carry on their own? You know, he was left with this huge dilemma. And obviously what he came up with, it was a masterstroke. It was a masterstroke, a stroke of genius.
So did you
find that way of doing something where there's pathos and yet humor? It's a very heady mix.
Yeah, and that episode is particularly raw, isn't it, with emotion? It has to be one of the saddest episodes of Only Fools and Horses.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I think it was the first sort of comedy where a main star in the show had a funeral, didn't he? You know, like you say, it was supposed to be a comedy, wasn't it? But he was able to. I think it was the first time John Sullivan realised he could write tragedy as well as comedy, wasn't it? And he brings it back, doesn't he? In that just before your scene, I think it's Rodney and Dell at the grave, isn't it? And then it all breaks up because they've thrown the vicar's hat in, haven't they? The vicar says, "Well, anybody seen my hat?" So it brings it back to comedy again. So
yeah, I think it was Joe Alton, you may remember or not, who did. I did the play that he wrote called What the Butler Saw, and he is quoted as saying that the materials of comedy and tragedy are exactly the same. It's simply the way you treat them, you know. But what we're actually doing when we're laughing at things, it's a relief mechanism.
Helps you get over it, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know if you know Cockneys that well. I count myself one of them.
My dad's one.
Well, I'm from East Ham originally, or Newham as it is now, and a lifelong West Ham fan.
Doing very well, aren't they?
Except today, they lost. They lost.
Everybody loses to
City. I think, you know, we gave them a run for their money. We could have got a point out of it, but we hit the post twice and it didn't happen. But we're doing very well at the moment, beyond expectations after the first 3 games. We were rock bottom. But this is not a football punditry, is it?
No.
That's all right. But you were saying, because you're an East Ender, and you were saying about with humour.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter what happens. Somebody gets blown up, somebody gets shot, somebody gets stabbed, whatever. There's always a joke in it somewhere, and the Cockney will always find it. And I think that the Scouse humour is similar in that sense. They also seem to have a punchline and you know, there's always a knock at the end of it, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we get you.
You know, Buster Merrifield, then obviously his first scenes in the show were with yourself, then, weren't they? Is that right?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Did you film the church before the flat? I know the flat came after, or did you do the flat scene before the church? Can you remember?
No, we did the flat scene in the studio with a live audience.
That came after then, didn't it? So what would happen? They'd show a video of the church, would they, and then come back to the studio for the audience, or would the audience not see the church scene?
Yes, they would have been shown that as a lead up, as a warm up sort of thing, and you'd have a warm up man go out there and get them lively, and you know, being told that you can't hear a smile. So if you're going to laugh out loud, you know, all that kind of preparation. And there was something that I'm quite proud of, really, in the sense that on that night before we were about to shoot, David found out that I was a stand-up comic, which is at the time basically how I earned my living, going out 4 or 5 nights a week doing stand-up, you know.
Wow.
And he told me that he envied me because he'd love to do stand-up, but he couldn't.
Mm.
He just didn't have whatever it is that stand-up comics have. I don't know what it is. Never could put my finger on it. But for someone like that to tell me he envied me was like, whoa, a major coup. I was very, very, very pleased with that.
I bet.
Yeah, yeah. What an accolade, yeah. And what about Buster Merrifield then? He was quite nervous by all accounts, wasn't he? Because it was his first.
Well, he'd been a bank manager all his life, Barclays bank manager in Richmond, I believe. And he retired. He just retired. He was a member of the local amateur dramatic society, and he decided that he was going to get himself an agent. And maybe because some of the best parts ever written have been for older characters, so he got himself an agent. And his first job was, guess what?
Only
Fools and Horses.
Mm.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. His debut was Only Fools and Horses, and he did 5 seasons of it.
Can you remember much about him? Was he a nice guy? I know you're not going to say he's a horrible guy, obviously, but was he a nice? He seemed a nice guy. Was he?
Oh no, he was a bank manager. What do you expect?
Yeah. He was well spoken, wasn't he? He was very well spoken in real.
Oh yes, he was. He was. Well, you know, he'd been sitting behind a desk the size of a battleship most of his life.
Mm. Mm.
But no, he was a delightful man. He was a delightful man, you know.
So, Mike, you were saying about the live studio audience.
Yeah.
Did you find that nerve-wracking, or was that a good thing?
No, I wouldn't say that it. I mean, I would call myself an accomplished actor and also an accomplished, at the time anyway, comedian. And working in front of audiences never really bothered me.
Do you think it brings the best out in actors to have that live audience there?
Yes, I do. I do, absolutely. You know, nothing like an audience's response, especially when you have them eating out of the palm of your hand. It's an experience like no other. It's an incredible buzz, that is. Incredible high.
Yeah, and it's a shame they don't do that anymore, isn't it, really? I think with a lot of TV shows now, you don't really get that so much.
No, unfortunately.
How long does it take, like your episode, Mike? How long would that have taken to film and everything? Is it a day's filming or is it a week or?
Well, there was one day at the cemetery, and the evening, the live studio on the set. So 2 days, basically.
2 days, you're right, yeah.
Yes.
And then if you miss if you miss a line or someone misses a line, then you just go back, do you, and do that?
Yes.
Those lines again, yeah.
It's all cut and take, you know. If you don't get it right, you just go back and do it again, you know.
Have you seen the episode many times since, or do you not tend to watch yourself on telly?
I have it stored on every device I have. And I have to confess that there are occasions when I'm feeling down and I want to remind myself of some of my achievements. I play it because I'd love to see my name go by at the end.
Mm. Is it that? Would it be up there as a career highlight, or is what would you say? Is it near the top? Would you say?
Again?
Is it near the top of a career highlight? Is it one of the top things in your career? Would you say that that you're most proud of?
I would say yes. I would say it's my claim to fame, if you like.
Yeah, the very top. Yeah. Brilliant. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, it's great you said that, because so many actors say, "Oh, I can't watch myself on TV," and all that. But it's great that you still watch it.
Well, every time the thing is that it's repeated so often that you can hardly miss it. You know, it goes on a continuous loop on UK TV.
UK Gold.
Yeah, UK Gold. And the nice part about it is I'm still getting paid for that.
I was gonna say that awkward question, but do you get royalties and things? But that's, I'm glad you've answered that. Yeah, so you do you? That's good.
So I can sit at home and watch myself working, which is very nice.
You just shout to your wife, "Hey, we've earned some more money. I'm on again." Yeah.
Oh, well, believe me, it's peanuts now. But
Is it?
It pays for me holidays. You know?
Yeah. Like DVDs, obviously sales of the DVD, you'd get a bit off that as well, would you? I presume. And
repeat foreign countries.
Yeah.
You know, you get a repeat from Romania, £1.68. So that sort of thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
But they all add up at the end. You know, it's most of Europe that take it.
Yeah.
Massive in so many different countries, and not just English-speaking countries. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, even USA. But when I did the convention in, I think that was 3 years ago at Worthing. There were people there from all over the world. Spanish people that couldn't even speak English. Who were devotees of Fools and Horses. But because again, we go back to this visual thing. Visual comedy is perennial, and it transcends language and religion and everything.
Yeah, and it's so universal, Only Fools and Horses, isn't it? Like you were saying, I mean, all over the world, people love it. That's what's special about it, really.
And you know, demographically, it's any age group. My grandchildren are still laughing at it, you know.
Yeah, the next generation like it because it's being kept alive with UK Gold, isn't it? Like you say, you know, it's and I don't think it's dated like other comedies, has it? You know, other comedies were funny possibly in the day, but they don't stand the test of time like Only Fools has done.
Well, you know, you tell me that whatever age group or ethnic group you're from or language you speak, you wouldn't find the one with the chandelier funny. It's just hilarious, and there's no need for language in it.
No.
It's all and when Del Boy does his magnificent fall behind the bar, you know, who wouldn't laugh at that?
Yeah, the chandelier one you mentioned, that was a true story. It was John Sullivan's dad, I think, wasn't it, who experienced that?
Yes, that's right.
He told his son John the story, and his dad didn't think it would be funny, did he? I think his dad said that won't work. And then John Sullivan said after it was broadcast, first person on the phone was his dad saying, yeah, it was funny, sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Was you nervous meeting the cast?
Pardon?
Was you nervous meeting the cast?
I didn't get that. Sorry. Sorry, go on, say again.
Did you nervous meeting the cast?
Was I nervous meeting the cast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. David Jason, my God. You talk about one of the best comedy actors we've ever produced in this country. And Nick Lyndhurst, wonderful actor. And look at the variety of stuff he's done, you know, incredible.
He's been awesome, hasn't he?
And comedy, all of it, you know. He's and David Jason, he's still alive, and he's a knight now. He's Sir David. And he deserves it. He deserves it.
He does. He's done well.
Did you have quite a chat? Did you have quite a chat with him, Mike? Sorry, did you have quite a chat with him on the 2 days of filming? Did you speak to them quite a bit? The cast, you know, David, and Nick, and
not really on the location, no. Because they were in their Winnebago doing their crosswords and whatnot. So we didn't, apart from actually on set and doing the recording, we didn't. Well, I certainly didn't see much of them anyway.
no.
But when we were in the studio, we did get the chance to converse and to pass the time of day, and also for David Jason to throw that compliment at me, which I was very proud of.
Mm.
That he envied me. And can you imagine? David Jason said he envied me. Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit like a footballer, isn't it? Saying that to you or something. Yeah, you know, a really good footballer saying, "Oh, I envy you for doing that." Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ultimate accolade for an actor, I would have thought. David Jason saying that.
Not really on the nail, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are you in contact with any of the cast still? Are you friends with any or socialise with any?
I occasionally see Maureen Sweeney, but the last time I saw her was at the convention at Worthing. That's 3 years ago.
Mm.
But I you know, we don't really keep close. Most of them are gone now, anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, they have.
She's gone, and a lot of the cast, as we know it, have passed on, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Mike, was you told with your characters to sort of look down on the Trotters? Because your wife, who plays your wife, Maureen, she was kind of snooty, wasn't she? Because she was from the other side of London. And was that the kind of vein John Sullivan told you to do it at, like that?
I never really got a note from either director or producer about anything I did. They just let us get on with it because it was important that they got it in the can. The only thing I remember is there was a line in it where we were talking with Del Boy, and Buster or Uncle Albert goes to the toilet, and as he walks away, the line was, "He's been living with us for 18 months now. If I hear one more nautical yarn, I'll swing for him." And they cut it. That was left on the cutting room floor. I think they thought I was a bit too aggressive with it.
Now, I've seen that Gene says that line about nautical. If I hear one more nautical story, I'll swing for him. She says that, I've seen. I don't know whether they give her the line then, did they possibly? Because I've heard that line.
Well, I can't remember what the exact line was.
I think you do say he's been living with us for 18 months now. Somebody suggested a home, I think you say. And I think she said,
someone just in an old folks home, and she says, we didn't consider it, love, did we? No, not at them prices anyway.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
But
yeah.
she's what we call in the East End all fur coat, no knickers, you know.
Yeah, you were from North London in the show, weren't you? And obviously the Trotters are from South London, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then you mentioned about your caravan, don't you? You say you've got a mobile home. So Del Boy says, "Oh, it's a caravan." So Gene goes on, "But I've got 2 bathrooms. I've got this. I've got that." He says, "Oh, right." Del Boy says, "It's a big caravan then."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Uncle Albert says, "We can't get puncture in that, can you? It's a flat."
No, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
The trouble was the funniest line in the show, but the audience didn't seem to get it.
Mm. I thought your funniest line was in the flat when Albert says to Del Boy, "I was going to be your godfather," and Del Boy says, "I thought George was my godfather," and Albert says, "Yeah, we tossed a coin," and you say, "Yeah, George lost." Meaning that's why Del Boy's godfather's George. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you're in an elite club, aren't you? I was weighing it up. You're one of 10 Trotters to actually feature in the show.
Yes.
Only 10. You know that actually the Trotters have been mentioned, but there's only 10. I think it's Del, Rodney, Grandad, Albert, yourself and Jean, Damien, Joan, Cassandra, Reg. And that's the 10.
That's
quite an elite club, isn't it?
That is true.
Yeah, quite an elite club, that. Do you have any memorabilia off the show at all that you kept? You know, like outfits or props?
Script, maybe?
Script, yeah.
I've still got that suit.
Have you? Have you really?
Yeah, somewhere around.
Wow.
I don't know what I've done with it, but it's somewhere in there.
It's one of those things you just can't get rid of, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very nice. It was a very nice and very expensive suit. So I've kept it.
Come on, be honest. Have you used it for weddings and funerals in the since then?
Yes, I have.
Why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. Oh wow. Did you think, at the time when you did your filming and things, did you think there was a chance you might be asked back again, or did you think that was it? Did you think, or did you hope and dream that you might be asked back again for another episode?
I've held out that hope for a long time. Unfortunately, the fact that I'm the black sheep seems to have stuck, and I kind of earned it. At the time, my head was all over the place. I'd just gone through quite a messy divorce, and I had a problem with alcohol after that, or during that. I think it's what caused the breakup of the marriage, really. And I was fighting all sorts of demons, which I have, thank God, touch wood, got over now. I've got through that.
Good to hear.
And I'm very, very lucky, man, to be alive, to still be alive. When you think of what I've subjected this body to over the years.
All the greats say that. How old are you, Mike?
75.
Really? Oh, I thought you were
No way.
60.
Don't look 75.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
What do they say? You wear it well, and you wear it well.
Emily, would you like to ask Mike anything?
Can't think of anything.
You sure?
I'm trying to think.
Yes, I'll have dinner with you. Yes.
I'll be honoured.
Do you enjoy doing the conventions when you go along to them, Mike?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
And there are some people who collect.
Another amazing experience when you see something in the region of maybe 1,500 to 2,000 people queuing up to go down a line and get signatures on bits of car and scripts and all that sort of stuff. Anything they can pick up and lay their hands on and get your altar. And it just makes one feel good to be asked to do something like that. And it pays well as well.
How many? Good, that's good to hear. How many would you say that once a week you get recognised for the character of Stan, or once a month, or every day? What do you get recognised for the character still?
No, not really. Not anymore. I mean, in the days when I was younger and only had one chin and my hair was all right, and I was a bit slimmer, maybe I would have done. But these days,
Well, people still say that.
people still say, I still get the occasional, I saw you in Only Fools and Horses. Did I you last night? And I go, yes, that's true. That's true. But they're mostly very close friends or relatives. I've still got a little fan club among the relatives who phone me or Facebook me and say, "Saw you on telly last night. You were great." It's just nice. It's just very, very pleasant. It's just to have been associated with the whole project, with the whole thing, is a massive bonus, and it's quite a pleasure all my life.
Quite a poignant episode as well, Mike, isn't it? You've introduced Uncle Albert to the show, haven't you? Really, that's
absolutely,
yeah, left your mark on the show, really.
It was only one episode. In fact, at the last convention I went to, one of the participants, one of the club members, or whatever you call him, he was walking away. I suppose he was about 20 yards away, sort of making his way out, and he sort of put his face over the railing or partition, whatever they had there, and he said, that was very cruel of you. Dump Uncle Albert like that. And I said, biggest favour I could have done him, mate. He got 5 seasons out of that. I
Yeah.
did 1 episode.
Yeah, if he'd have gone back home with you, we'd never saw him again, would we?
No.
Great reply.
Yeah, brilliant. Yes. Sorry, Emily, go on.
What's your favourite episode of the whole season? Like the series?
Don't say strained relations.
Well, that's got to be number 1, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Has to be.
And of course, I always sticks in my mind is the one where the luminous paint. That was very funny.
Yellow Peril, yeah.
And when Uncle Albert fell down the manhole, accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, that was the episode that originally Leonard Pearce had filmed, hadn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, and when Mike's looking up from the beer cellar at Albert, he's actually looking up at Leonard Pearce. That actual footage was of the original, wasn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
Mm. It's a shame they didn't have. I don't know if they have kept Leonard Pearce's episode. It'd be nice to see that, wouldn't it? Actually, I don't know if they've still kept it or whether they destroyed it.
I wouldn't know that.
No.
No idea. I'm sorry.
No. That'd be quite interesting, that, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah. So, do you know your character? I was trying to think. Who was your father? Did they say? Oh, your dad is. It's not Albert, is it? It's one of the other brothers, I presume, isn't it? George, possibly.
George. Yeah.
It's George, is it? They said is your father.
Well, it doesn't specify that in the script, but
No.
that's the only person it could be. There were only 2 brothers, and it's not Uncle Albert. It has to be George.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Well, it's been great speaking to you, Mike. We got there in the end.
Thank the Lord.
I'll get this edited and then we'll put it on the podcast. And Chris will send you a link to it so you can listen back.
Great.
Mike, am I all right to smoke my pipe in your Cortina now?
No. No pipes.